Hello and welcome back to HR Stew. My name is Regina Holly.
And I'm Holly Nells.
And this is HR Stew.
Welcome to the holiday episode of HR Stew. The holidays are upon us, and with them come all the joys and sometimes awkwardness of workplace celebrations. Today we're diving into gift giving, white elephant exchanges, holiday parties, and the tricky balance of keeping things fun while respecting everyone's comfort and beliefs. Today we're joined by Andrea Castro, one of our bilingual HR business partners here at Vida HR. Welcome, Andrea.
Welcome, Andrea. We're glad to have you.
Yes, glad you could join.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
And we are excited to have you. So let's start with a broad question. What are some of your favorite and least favorite holiday traditions in the workplace?
My favorite holiday tradition that we just started last year here is the cookie exchange. However, there's one of our coworkers that shall remain nameless, and she wants to do a first, second, and third prize.
Very competitive.
Yeah, that's who she is as a human. But I just enjoy sharing the recipes and sharing the cookies with everybody and just having that conversation and gathering with everybody. It's probably one of my favorites.
It's a lot of fun. I would say my favorite is the Adopt a Family. We started that here last year, but I've done it at other companies as well, either by picking one of the ornaments from a tree. I've done a version where it was a teen Christmas that we sponsored a teenager because they just seem to get not as much attention as the younger children. I don't know. I just thought we all really came together last year. We had a family of 7 and we really brought it for them. And it just, I don't know, it feels good to give people things, you know?
And the wrapping presents, before we delivered everything, we had an assembly line.
Yes.
I like holiday potlucks. Those are always fun to have everyone bring in their own holiday traditional dinner item.
Yeah.
That is fun.
Yeah.
I love food in general.
All right, I need to ask, what is your least favorite then?
So when I worked at the call center, we did this cubicle decorating contest. I don't know. It just felt like people were spending their own money and felt like kind of obligated to do it. And these were not people that made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And some people really did a nice job. And, the point of it was to bring a festive environment. But as a company, just decorate instead of expecting, your employees to do it for you. So that was one of my least favorite things.
Right. I don't know that I like the competitive atmosphere around the door decorating, all of that. It's, let's all have a good time and get together and enjoy each other's company more so than competitive.
I kind of like the competitive side of it.
I figured you'd say that.
I want to win. Once that one employee said
win.
that we're going to have a cookie contest, I was like, then I need to win that. I don't want to be second place. I want to be first place.
Maybe it's because I don't want to put forth the time to find a recipe that's going to beat everybody, and I'm a really competitive person, so I'm like...
I don't even have a recipe, but just by nature of her saying that she wanted to win made me want to win.
You're hilarious.
I think it's hilarious that Holly's saying she's not competitive either because
no,
both
I am competitive.
Because you studied for, what was it, the Veterans Day?
I think it was Halloween.
No, she studied for the Halloween trivia.
I was ready. After I
studied for Veterans trivia, and I won.
Yes.
I wasn't going to lose again.
Yeah.
I think it was Memorial Day.
Might have been. No, maybe Labor Day.
It was Labor Day. It was Labor Day. I'm sorry.
I did. I studied for Labor Day. And
we were like, how does she know these dates?
Listen. So, and maybe that's why I don't want it to be competitive, because I know how I am. And I was like, I just don't have the brain power to
I still remember when we did that during lockdown, we did the virtual scavenger hunt. You were
my gosh.
you won. She was sweating, running around her house, trying to find all the items.
Oh, find a blue marker, find a bobby pin.
Full disclosure, I had my children and I'm just dictating, go here, it's in this drawer, I'm missing.
Did you win?
I don't know that I did,
I
actually.
thought you did, but if she didn't win, she came in second or something. She had all the items.
If you're not in first, you're last.
Yeah. Second place is the first loser.
Yes.
Let's discuss some common office traditions around the holidays. So first, we're going to dive into the often tricky tradition of workplace gift giving. From Secret Santa to personalized presents, finding the right balance between thoughtful and professional can be definitely a challenge, especially when budgets, preferences, and boundaries come into play. So first question is, what are your personal rules for giving gifts in the workplace as far as boundaries, costs, anything like that?
I think my first personal rule. If I'm going to do gifts, I want to make sure to have enough for everyone so no one is left out. And granted, if I work for a larger company, 1,500 employees, it would be for everyone in my department so I can give something to everyone. I'm not the best gift giver either. Like, I can give you gift cards all day long, and that's easy.
Yeah,
Gift cards work.
Gift cards is where it's at.
And I think having a budget on gifts that you're giving to colleagues or coworkers, unless you have a personal friendship or relationship outside of work, and then you can, exchange those gifts outside of work, I think there definitely should be a budget of like $25, $30.
That number sounds about right, actually. And you could get something decent for that, right?
Yeah.
I would say one of my rules also for gift giving is if there is a preset budget, let's say it's $25, that we stick to that generally, right? You don't want to be that one person who brings in a $25 gift and someone else brings in something that's clearly 2 or 3 times that, because then you feel like you skipped out or something.
So a follow-up question I have is, do you think there should be company-wide policies for gift giving?
It's tough. I mean, I think it's good to have a rule of thumb, because if you have a policy, it almost creates the expectation that you should give gifts.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think that should be a thing. But in general, I know for me, I don't want to receive gifts. Right. Like, so as the COO of this organization, I don't want anybody to spend their money on me. Right. So I like giving gifts, and hopefully I've done a decent job, but it's hard when you have to buy for 25, 30 people to find something that's equitable across everybody. Sometimes I would say that's one of the biggest challenges, but I think it's a good rule to make sure it is equitable.
I would say another challenge, now that you mentioned that, is to make sure it's not perceived as mandatory, right? And that those employees who, for whatever reason, do want to opt out, they can still somehow feel part of the team if they're going to opt out of the gift giving part and then kind of the celebration itself for their own reasons.
Well, and I think too, I have one employer many moons ago. They would do gift giving, but it was so sporadic. And I remember them coming to me and asking me about the gift giving policies and procedures. With some employees on their birthdays would get these elaborate flowers and balloons and this big to-do. And then the next day would be somebody else's birthday right across the hall, and nobody even knew it was their birthday. I mean, what if they are somebody that wants to be celebrated, and you've celebrated this person with flowers and balloons and, a door decor, and then this other person across the hall gets nothing? How is that? How important are they going to feel to the organization as a whole if you're not being fair and consistent? So I don't know that policy should be in place, but definitely a conversation. Like, if you're going to want something for one person as a member of leadership, and it was a member of leadership asking me about this, if you're going to do something for one person as a member of leadership, you need to do it for all of your staff, because it could definitely show favoritism and make this person not feel valued.
One thing I've seen done at companies where there's a lot of employees, it'll do birthday months. So like the month of May, we celebrate everybody who's a birthday in May or June or July, whatever it is.
Right.
That way it encapsulates everybody. No one's left out.
Yeah.
So excluding White Elephant, what are some of the best and worst coworker gifts you've been given or seen given?
I have a funny example. It wasn't a coworker, but a friend of mine who worked at an oxygen bar. So people would go in and get like oxygen hits or whatnot. And one year for Christmas, they were all given free oxygen.
They worked there?
Yeah. She's like, I literally got air for Christmas. So I thought it was funny.
That is funny. I was just talking to our controller, Chris, and I was like, I'm trying to think of what the worst gift I ever got was. And he said, well, I have one. He said that he feels like the person, like on the way to work, realized he had to give him a gift and bought like Walmart face wash in a brown bag. And he said it was actually like women's face wash, or face wash that was targeted for women. And because I really figured out they really didn't like me. I was like, I thought
Doesn't even
funny.
sound like they stopped for something. They just like looked in their closet.
Maybe it could have been a re-gifted face wash.
Right.
That might be even worse.
Didn't have a seal. Yeah.
I think some of my favorite gifts are just, it doesn't even have to be expensive, just something that somebody actually put thought into, of like, hey, Holly's talked about this. I'm going to give you one example. And Regina, I'm calling you out. So there were these bags that all the new hires now receive when they're hired on at Vita HR.
I got one.
I am an old employee.
Tenured.
Tenured and old. But I'm a tenured employee, and I was like, oh, I really love this bag. I would really like this bag. So one year Regina got me a bag with an H on it. And I just thought that was so very thoughtful to like, I had talked about this. Maybe I whined about it a little bit and she got me one.
I made note.
So I like those type of gifts where you like put forth effort. It doesn't even have to be anything extravagant. Just that, hey, Holly mentioned she wanted this, so I'm going to get it for her.
Attention to detail.
Yeah.
Well, the best coworker gift I ever got was I was also complaining about my lipstick that I had worn for years had been discontinued, and I didn't notice, and it was too late, and I couldn't find it. And a coworker, who actually happens to be in this room, found some for me in different sizes, travel sizes, and found an alternate color. And that was like one of the most thoughtful things, and I really appreciated it.
Good job, Harrison. We never heard about the lipstick.
I was like, dang, I like my family doesn't even pay attention to this stuff.
Me too. I'm gonna start telling Harrison what I want from here on out.
Drop hints.
So next we're going to move on to the topic of white elephant exchanges, maybe known as Yankee Swap or Dirty Santa. White elephant exchanges are a common workplace tradition, the ultimate mix of fun and surprise, but sometimes it can quickly go awry. For those unaware, a white elephant gift exchange is a playful holiday tradition where participants bring wrapped gifts, typically inexpensive or humorous, to contribute to a shared pool, and players take turns selecting a gift. On your turn, often you can steal or open a new gift, but generally the game continues until everyone has a gift, creating a mix of surprises, laughter, and sometimes competition. So that comes with the question, have you ever been a part of a white elephant that has gone south? And what can you do to ensure it stays fun and professional?
Well, I've definitely been part of a white elephant that went south for sure. At my previous employer, we had been on the search for a chief operating officer for like a year. And we were able to recruit this fantastic guy, like one of the nicest guys I'd ever met. Married for 30 years, had a storied career, had actually retired and came out of retirement for this job. So anyway, we're having this white elephant. He had just started not that long before this happened, maybe a month or so, maybe 6 weeks. And we had just promoted a bunch of new supervisors. So these were people that were agents before on the phones. So we invited all the supervisors to participate in the white elephant. And this new supervisor came in my office and asked me, he goes, gag gifts are okay, right? And I said,
oh no.
I said, yeah, gag gifts is fine. I'm like, I really wasn't thinking about it. I was doing something else. He came in and asked me quickly. So anyway, we're going through the white elephant. Everybody's having a good time. And it comes to the point where our new chief operating officer picks his gift. He opens it up and it is a ball gag.
No.
Yes. Yep. And he literally...
I love your reaction.
I was expecting anything but
wait, hold on. It was better. It was a beginner's ball gag, specifically.
I'm going to really need to know
Speechless.
The difference.
Okay, yeah.
And he literally turned purple. I mean, he turned purple. He was so embarrassed. And...
just to clarify, the COO was embarrassed that this was his gift.
The COO was embarrassed.
Not the gift giver.
Correct.
Okay.
And he was like, Regina said that I could get a gag gift,
HR said it was okay.
I was like, oh my gosh. I wasn't being that literal. I didn't know. So we definitely put some rules in place after that about work appropriate gifts and et cetera. And actually, I do think that was the last white elephant we had.
Because of that?
Yeah.
So I am not a huge fan of the white elephant. I'm going to give you my backstory. When I started here 6 years ago, I went to my first Christmas party. I'd only known these people for about a month. And I bought my white elephant gift and took it to the restaurant. And I am the last person to go because I'm the last person hired on. So the only gift that's left is my gift.
Oh.
That I bought. Which, it was a calendar. I loved it. It had art in it, and it was what I would pick for myself. So the next year, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to buy me another gift that I would want to buy myself.
Just in case.
And I bought, I think, a game for that one that I had really wanted but hadn't spent the money on yet. Second year, got my own gift again. I don't know how it worked. It was like the luck of the draw. I got my own gift again. Third year, same thing. Bought my own gift that I would really enjoy and want to have. And that one was done. Wasn't that one done virtually?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And I got my own gift again. And that was during COVID. Like, it was my gift. I ended up not ordering it that year for myself. I was like, I don't really need these. And it was whoever won, you had to order and send it to their house. And I ended up not ordering a gift for myself. And I'm like, this is awful that I just keep getting my own gift and don't get to be surprised. And then I think you changed it up the past few years because I haven't gotten myself, like how we do it.
Well, pre-COVID, the first 2 years, we would meet in the middle of the mall and they gave us a couple $100 to go shopping and then $25 separately to buy our white elephant gift. So we bought it day of.
Yes.
So that was actually a fun twist. But again, we got too big and we just did different things.
Yeah. Yeah. But then I'm like, I don't want to do white elephant anymore. I'm over white elephant. But this year I'm really excited about the Secret Santa stuff that we're doing internally.
That's exciting. I like how they organize it for you.
And I don't have to second guess it. I just go in, I can click on what they want and order it, and it comes to my house. Easy.
Just got to wrap it.
So Holly mentioned that year she brought a calendar, but generally for everyone, what is your go-to gift to bring to a white elephant at work?
My go-to gift based on this experience is whatever I really, really want that I don't buy myself. So it depends on the year. That year was a calendar. 1 year was a game. I've done candles. I've done a big fluffy blanket.
Not candles.
I love a good candle.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. I love a good candle.
Hard to get the scents right though, right? I don't
know. If it's not your scent, you just steal from somebody else.
True.
Yeah.
My go-to is always coffee, like good coffee, or wine. I feel like you can't go wrong with those. And they present nicely. The packaging is nice and it looks fancy.
I guess wine, if you don't drink wine, because not everybody does, is always very giftable.
Wine. Yeah.
As well. So nothing wasted.
It's true. It can be that dust candle or dust face wash in the back of your closet that you just pull out for the next white elephant when you forget about somebody.
My last white elephant gift, I don't have a go-to. It's always something different. But my last one was actually a wine glass that said, I drink because I work here or something.
Those are always funny.
So lastly, we're going to talk about holiday parties. A chance to celebrate the season, unwind with coworkers, and maybe even show off your karaoke skills. But while these events can be a lot of fun, they also come with unique challenges, from balancing inclusivity to navigating party etiquette. So the question I have is, what has been the most memorable office holiday party you've ever attended? And was it memorable for the right or the wrong reasons?
I'm going to have an answer for that one, in that I used to be the one organizing the holiday parties. And I did one once. It was employees and all of their families. We probably had about 500 people in attendance.
Oh, wow. And
I was under strict orders to make it a holiday party, not a Christmas party. So obviously nothing religious, no Santa Claus. So I did that. It was all holiday, snow themed. And then like a week before the party, the GM says, "Oh, so is Santa Claus going to be there?" Well, no, because we said no Santa Claus. He's like, "Well, I want Santa Claus to be there. Make sure Santa Claus is there." So I find a Santa Claus, a local Santa Claus, who can come and show up for a couple hours and do the party. And I, met with the Santa Claus beforehand and, vetted him. And I said, this is a company family-friendly party, right? So I thought he understood what that meant. And then day of the party, we're having the party. He's taking his photos, making his rounds. And then he comes to me and goes, "Can I do my special trick?" I was like, "Well, what?"
That's ominous.
Special trick. Santa Claus at the company holiday party where
with
families and children are present. And he goes, "Oh, that one where I reach behind a woman's blouse in the back and I rip off her bra from behind."
What?
And I was like, "No, we're not doing that." It was like a gag. Like he had a bra up his sleeve or something. And he would pretend to rip it out from the back of her blouse. I was like, "No, we're not doing that at all. We're taking nice photos with kids and their families.
I'm speechless.
No jokes." And I was like, this is what happens when you hire Santa Claus last minute.
Yeah, we had a week's notice. Yeah. Listen, you brought a Santa. Yeah. I mean,
he looked good in photos, but we're not doing the bra gag.
Oh my!
Luckily, he didn't do it though. Luckily, he asked ahead of time.
I don't see the correlation. Like, let me pull a lady's bra off and be Santa. I just really don't see the correlation.
Also, I wasn't expecting him. I thought he was going to do maybe magic tricks.
Yeah,
at the most.
Yeah, I agree.
So avoided that one, but it could have been a little bit of a disaster.
I'm trying to think about a memorable. I know this isn't exactly what we're talking about, but one of the last holiday parties at my last company, our chief marketing officer wanted me specifically, but a group of us in leadership to do like a choreographed dance. No. And I refused. No. I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm putting a dog and pony show on every day around here. I am not dancing in front of our employees. Like, there's no way.
I really enjoyed the Vegas themed party with the poker tables, and
that was fun.
That was a lot of fun. And I know it wasn't necessarily a holiday party. It was a little bit after the holidays, but that was probably one of my favorites because it gave us something to do and entertain and laugh and joke. And
it was officially our holiday party that we moved to March.
Agreed, yes.
But I got to learn how to play blackjack.
I got to learn how to play craps, and it has come in handy in Cripple Creek and in Las Vegas.
So on that same topic, do you think that attendance at holiday parties should be optional for employees? And say it was optional, do you think it sets the wrong tone for an employee to skip the holiday party?
I think it's tough. I think it always has to be optional, but I think it is disappointing when people don't want to come.
Agreed.
But that's their prerogative. I mean, it's outside of work. You're not paying them to be there. I mean, you're hopefully putting on an event that people want to attend, but no matter what you do, some people are not going to want to come. Some people have their own lives and don't want to spend it with their coworkers after hours. So, yeah.
It's just that one time a year where we don't have to think about work, talk about work, deal with work, and you actually get to enjoy each other's company on a different level, a different playing field.
It is, to your point though, Regina, I do think it is disappointing when someone doesn't go. Not that they can't go, but they just choose not to participate.
Yeah.
I think it's unfortunate, even though it's not mandatory.
Yeah, it's not mandatory.
Kind of shows that you're not part of the team.
Well, it does tell you something, but it doesn't need to change anything, but it does tell you something.
Yeah.
So lastly, what is your take on alcohol at office parties?
It depends.
I think we're all adults, and as long as it's not like in the office, I think that sets a different tone. If it's off-site somewhere, a restaurant or some other type of venue, I think we should be able to have a drink or two without going over the top.
Look, I think as a company, you can't pay for the alcohol. I think that's a liability. So I think if you have a cash bar at an offsite location, like you said, and people are assuming everybody is an adult. Sometimes you have to factor in if you have people underage, and you're willing, if someone does seem to overindulge, to make sure that they're not driving home and ordering Ubers, then I think that could be a really fun experience for everybody. But I think somebody still has to be, if you're going to have alcohol, somebody has to be the adult.
Well, and you also have to make sure that you can control it and not get to the point where you black out and you don't remember what happens, or you want to still be able to control or know what happened the night before. So you don't do the walk of shame.
But we're talking about managing other people, not you, Holly, blacking out.
I don't black out. I'm a 2 to 3 drink maximum because I don't want to get to that level and make a fool of myself.
It's
No
hard
comment.
though. I don't think you should have a holiday party that doesn't offer spirits, whatever everyone. But everything in moderation. But it's hard to manage sometimes. I mean, I've seen some bad outcomes for sure over the years. Like I said, somebody has to be paying attention enough to know if somebody needs a ride, somebody needs a Uber called, whatever. Or if you're going to give the option, like we have ours in a hotel. Some people stay at the hotel. You just need to have options for people.
So next we're going to move on to Ask HR. But before we do, unfortunately, Andrea has to leave a little bit early.
Thank you for joining us today, Andrea. We really appreciate your time and your contributions, and thank you.
It was really fun. I enjoyed it. Thanks.
Thank you. So today's question comes from user Yankee Doodle Doggy, and it is titled, Received an Inappropriately Expensive Gift. It reads, My husband is a supervisor level without any direct reports. His boss, the manager, has additional people on their team, including a woman who is a level below my husband. So they work together, but she doesn't and hasn't ever reported to him. She asked him maybe 6 months ago to dinner and asked if he would be her unofficial mentor. They've had dinner one other time aside from that. So cutting to now, she just gifted him a $300 bottle of scotch for Christmas. He didn't know what it was worth when he accepted it, Something worth noting is she is Indian and gifting is big for her and her culture. She told him she gave a friend $1,500 as a wedding gift, just as an example. I personally am very concerned that it is inappropriate for him to keep it, and he thinks I'm overreacting. I'm worried that she's gifting upwards and it's so expensive that it could open a potential for expected reciprocation, and it could be seen as favoritism if he ever makes a professional decision that is advantageous to her. Obviously, it would be very uncomfortable to return it. Not sure if it's relevant. He is also about to move to a different manager under the same director, so they won't be working as closely soon. What are your thoughts?
I would give it back. Most company policies, and if they're a bigger company, have a limit to how much of a gift you can receive from clients, from vendors, from, there's a dollar amount associated to that.
But this isn't a client or a vendor. This is a work relationship.
No, but in the company handbook, I'm sure there's something, and this guy could figure out how to spin it and say, hey, I can't accept this. We have a dollar limit. I really appreciate you thinking about me, but I'm going to give you back this $300 bottle of scotch. And I don't know that it's appropriate for her to give him a $300 bottle of scotch.
I think we're operating under the assumption that there's not a policy in place for that. So he doesn't really have, there's not really an excuse for that.
Right. I don't think, other than the vendor and client gift, we don't have anything that addresses inter-office gift giving,
I would just add it in there. Just say, I don't feel comfortable with this. This gift is above the $25 vendor client portion of our handbook, and I don't feel comfortable with a $300 bottle of scotch.
I mean, that's certainly probably the cleanest way, especially if he doesn't care about maintaining a relationship with her.
I think you can word it nicely.
But that was a concern, is that he feels like she would be insulted. I think, let's talk about some alternatives that kind of clear him of this, right? So he could have a conversation with her, say he greatly appreciates this thoughtful gift. I think he could give her something back, that maybe is not that much, but it's something valuable that maybe is meaning to her. If she's asking for a mentor, even if it's a couple of business books that are related to whatever she's looking for, mentoring on, or just something, and say, but just going forward, I'm not going to be participating in gift giving going forward, or however he wants to word that, but just a clean break, thank you so much. This was extremely thoughtful, completely unnecessary. Obviously, I feel uncomfortable with how much of your money you spent, on this gift, and give her a gift back. Maybe not of the same value, and say, but just in the future, I'm just not exchanging gifts at work, period. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to return a gift.
Yeah.
And some people are just generous. Some people really enjoy spending money on other people. It's not just spending money. That's the wrong way to say that.
But the act of giving
right,
gifts.
It's really means something to people. So, look, we don't know these people. We always say this, but that might not be the best course of action. It's not like she's going to go back to the liquor store and return it. If she doesn't drink it, what's she going to do with it? For all we know, it could have been a gift that she regifted,
Very true.
So.
And I can understand the wife's concerns about it could be perceived as favoritism. It could be perceived as all of these
Would she be
things.
feeling the same way if it was a man?
That would be my question. Yeah. And I don't know that she would.
Right.
But I think just accept the gift. Go drink it with your husband. Have a good night.
Well, I'm not drinking scotch.
Me either.
But, if that's something that maybe he mentioned that, or maybe he ordered a small glass, when they went to dinner. It doesn't seem like there's anything inappropriate about their relationship. She seems to be keeping it professional. So to me, I think there would not be a question if this was a guy. So if that is the issue, then just proceed. Get her something back that's thoughtful and meaningful to her, and then just nip it in the bud.
That's all the time we have for today. We want to thank Andrea for joining us, and of course, thank all of you for listening. If you've enjoyed your time with us, please subscribe and leave a review. If you have any HR stories or questions to share, message us on Instagram at hr.stew. I'm Holly.
And I'm Regina.
And we'll see you next time on HR Stew.